This week there is to be a review of the Enoch Burke situation in the High Court. In other words, he will get an opportunity again this week to come into the High Court, or at least be video linked into the High Court from Mountjoy Prison, where he's imprisoned for contempt of court, and he'll be given the opportunity to offer an undertaking to stay away from the school, Wilson's Hospital School, where he was employed as a teacher. That's what's going to happen this week. It's a routine sort of a review. I think the last review was back in December or thereabouts. However, the review will not be attended by Enoch Burke's parents or Isaac Burke, his brother, or Amy Burke, his sister. Sean and Martina Burke are his parents. Why? Because last Friday, Mr. Justice Mark Sanfey in the High Court made an order that the Burkes, these four Burkes, were not allowed attend the review this week because of their previous behaviour, disruptive behaviour, roaring and shouting. The judge described it, the disruptive behaviour as. He said that the court had been allowed, or had been perfectly happy to let the Burkes attend the hearing if they were prepared to give undertakings not to disrupt next week's hearing or this week's hearing. However, the Burkes were not prepared to do so. The judge had invited members of the Burke family, these four members, to make submissions to the court regarding their proposed exclusion. The court heard that all four strongly objected to their exclusion, and one family member, Isaac Burke, he attended court on Friday last, and he argued that he, his sister and parents should be allowed to attend the hearing. However, following a heated exchange between Isaac Burke and the judge had Mr. Burke physically removed from the court, from the High Court, by Gardaí for refusing to comply with the judge's order to leave the courtroom. Isaac Burke became animated and repeatedly demanded the judge withdraw a remark where Mr. Justice Sanfey described Mr. Burke's statements to the court as being an interrogation. Mr. Justice Sanfey refused to withdraw the remark. Before his removal from court, Isaac Burke described the exclusion order as being outrageous and a breach of constitutional right that justice be administered in public. No detail of each individual's disruptive behaviour had been furnished by the judge, Mr. Burke said. That's true, no detail had been furnished, but anybody watching these cases can see for themselves and make up their own mind. He questioned the independence of the decision of the judge and blah blah blah. Isaac Burke took further exception to the judge's description of members of his family of being the Burkes, as being the Burkes. He said that there are 12 members of the family, they're not a collective, and each has individual rights. And then Enoch Burke addressed the court via video link from Mountjoy Prison. He claimed that he was dragged from his cell and said he had no advance warning of the application to exclude members of his family from next week's proceedings, so this week's proceedings. He was animated in his submissions until the judge ordered that his microphone be muted, repeatedly criticised Mr. Justice Sanfey and other members of the judiciary who have made rulings against him, Enoch Burke. He described the judge and his colleagues as being liars, having ignored the truth and doing worse things than those who are in prison with him. He added that the real reason he spent almost a year behind bars was because he was being punished for his religious beliefs and his opposition to transgenderism. In reply, the judge said that in 36 years as a lawyer and a judge, he had never been called or heard another judge being called a liar in a courtroom. He said members of the Burke family were written to in advance regarding the court's proposal to exclude them from the proceedings. This was due to their past behaviour at numerous court hearings. The judge said that when Enoch Burke's case was last before him, he had to rise 5 times due to the family's tag team disruption of the proceedings. One member of the family would start shouting at the court, resulting in their removal from the court, the judge said, before another member would then start shouting. The judge said the court is entitled to take steps to maintain good order in the court. He added that their constitutional rights, that justice be administered in public, and the rights of members of the public to attend court had been fully taken into account. He said the court was prepared to allow them to attend if they gave undertakings not to disrupt the proceedings and consider any submissions in support of their attendance. No such undertakings were provided, so the judge said he was making orders excluding them from this week's hearing. That is the latest. That review hearing is going on this week in the High Court. Enoch Burke presumably will be in attendance either physically or by video link from Mountjoy, probably by video link from Mountjoy, who knows, and who knows what this case will bring, because it's brought a lot of novel behaviour and so on up to now. Anyway, hope you find the video useful. If you do, I'd appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up down below, and you may be interested in subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you are, just hit the subscribe button down below, and you may be interested in listening to my podcast, the Irish Law and Small Business Podcast. If you're listening to this on podcast, I'd appreciate if you left a review either on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you might listen to your podcasts. Thanks a lot.